Beautiful day, Patriots. How are you? We're going to continue with our study of etymology, the English language, America's history, and how witchcraft works. And it's all combined together. Yes? Now, here in America, we know that we are free as long as we pay our taxes. And if we don't pay our taxes, we will be thrown in jail. Yeah? You don't believe me? Go ask Wesley Snipes. Yeah? American hero in my eyes. I don't know exactly his whole story. I'm just glad, or it's just, let me just be careful. Go look at Wesley Snipes. He didn't pay his taxes. He was thrown in jail. Yeah? Okay, so now in the Bible, Caesar, Augustus Caesar, sent out a decree for all the land to be taxed. And again, taxing people is not freedom. And taxing people actually shortens people's lives. It is a huge burden on the individual to have to earn money and pay taxes to a government or anybody, especially when it's required that if you don't pay the taxes, then they throw you in jail, in prison, in debtor's prison. It's not just new here in America. Debtor's prison has been around for a very long time, even to biblical times. And we still have that debtor's prison right here in America. It's just disguised differently as a tax. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. Debt. If you're in debt to the government, go to jail. Yes. And so like I say, this tax is a burden and it costs people's lives. So let's go ahead and look at the time of when Augustus Caesar, decreed throughout all the land that all should be taxed. Okay? Now here's an example of how burdensome this is for the people and how people die because of being taxed. The story of the night that Jesus Christ was born. His parents, Joseph and Mary, were doing a long travel to go to Bethlehem so that they could then pay their taxes. You see, if they stayed in their home, in their hometown, they would have been arrested for not paying their taxes. Back then, they didn't have a mail service. They didn't have, you couldn't just push your app and send your taxes in by mail or by phone, credit card. Nope, you had to go in by person. So because of Augustus Caesar, a couple, Mary and Joseph, had to travel to Bethlehem. Now, as we know, when they arrived at Bethlehem, Mary had her child, Jesus, which meant that she was traveling under very dangerous conditions. There's no hospital. Times were different back then. She has a baby in a manger, in a barn where pig, animal, horse, chicken, who knows what kind of a manger it was, but not a very sanitary place to have a child, would you think? Does it sound like having a child inside a barn with animals, dung everywhere would be a sanitary place? And because they had to pay taxes, they were in that situation, away from home, traveling with a pregnant woman, giving birth so that they could pay taxes and not be put in jail. Okay? Taxing. Have you ever heard the phrase tax them to death? Being taxed to death? Or how about the two things you can count on? Dying and taxes? You think those are just like coincidental type of, phrases? So let's look at the word tax. Simple word. Tax. Yes? Let's mirror it. Zat. I don't know. Zat. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But if we look in the English dictionary, you know what? That is a word. Let's go look at this word and think about it for a minute. I've got it right here in our dictionary. X-A-T. X-A-T. Q-R-S-T. Zat. Now, it's a carved pole erected as a memorial to the dead by some Indians of Western North America. Western North America. Think about this for a minute. Hundreds of years ago, when the English language was made, right? Before we were in America, Augustus Caesar says tax, right? And here, when we mirror the word tax, it says that the word it comes from a North American Indian tribe. Well, let's think about this. Are you telling me that the North American Indians used English to spell words? Or did the English-speaking people give a certain item of the Indians an English word? Does that sound more logical? Are you saying that the Native Americans used English letters? And that's what they called their memorial staff to the dead? Does that make sense to you? Or is there maybe even something missing here? Or is it hidden messages? I want to ask you something. If you're being taxed to death, and this is a carved pole erected as a memorial to the dead, we know that the angel of death has a staff. And it's a reaper. It's a wheat reaper. Like taking the wheat and the tares. So the North American Indians, which we know cannot be true here, we know that can't be true because the North American Indians did not use English letters to name their items. But here in the dictionary, it is telling us it's a carved pole erected as a memorial to the dead by some of the Indians of the Western North American. A curved pole. How's that say again? A curved pole. Pole with a curve on it. I don't know. Does that look like a curved pole? Is this not a memorial to the dead? Oh, I guess. You're free as long as you pay your taxes. But don't mirror it. You might find that there is more to it. Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes or you go to jail. You'll go to freedom jail is what you'll go to.